affected his mental approach to the game. At 6'6", Audley Harrison, 3 inches taller than Guinn, London native. He's been living in Vegas for the past 18 months, training in Miami. He's now 19-1, and his last 5, it is that one loss that all the critics point to, the lackluster display against Danny Williams. The London sports writers so outraged they said it was a career collapse in humiliation. Well, forget the criticism. Here is the simple truth of it, the fight plan laid out by Teddy Atlas.
Obi-Wan Kenobi, Darth Vader. Now, hopefully for Audley Harrison, the force will be with him. I'm going to play Audley Harrison, the southpaw heavyweight. Now, he should be on the outside using a 6'5" frame, but let's skip that, because if you watch these two fighters, they do not use their jabs enough, they're not consistent enough. It's going to wind up on the inside. Here's the key for our audience. What punch will Audley Harrison select to turn this fight around in his favor against Guinn on the inside? Now, Guinn goes into the peekaboo on the inside, so hooks are not going to be effective because he's going to block. And there's really no room for a straight punch on the inside with this peekaboo. So the punch there is the uppercut. It can split the guard. Look for the backhand, the left uppercut, the power punch for the southpaw, where the foot is behind that power for Audley Harrison. Look for him to throw that punch, get the head up, but here's the difference. Usually he only throws one at a time. He's got to put them together and not stop with one. If he wants to stand up and separate himself and show himself as being a real contender, the former Olympic champion needs to let those hands go. Guinn wants to beat Darth Vader or Harrison. Now, the first thing, I'll be Dominick Guinn. He's dealing with a southpaw, so he's going to want to move to his left a little bit away from the power hand, the backhand. And also, he's going to want to get close to throw that southpaw kill with the right hand. Now, if Harrison uses his height and snaps a jab, he won't be able to do that. But I don't think he's going to. I think he's going to pour with that jab. And that's going to allow Guinn to sneak into a closer distance, bing, throw that lead right hand. Now, when he does that, I noticed that in the past, Harrison will look to grab when he gets hit with punch. That's where Guinn must not cooperate. Drop down and punch or step back, create distance, keep it going, and get a big win that both these fighters need tonight.
So this is the man that'll be looking for that right hand against the pawing jab, Dominick Guinn. He's been working with Joe Goosen. He says that Joe has been bringing up his technique and his punching skills. The moment has arrived for Audley Harrison. Has to step up, has to make it happen after that display against Danny Williams. Guinn has fought more and against the higher level of opposition. In fact, the last time he fought on Friday Night Fights, Guinn lost to Sergey Lihovich, a loss that doesn't look so bad now with Sergey having a title belt. Raul Caiz Jr., the ref.
All right, gentlemen, legal punches here on up. Touch gloves, glove to both of you. Let's have a clean fight.
10 rounds, Harrison and Guinn. Which career gets to continue onward? Many feel it can't just be a W, it has to be an impressive night by one of these two. 34-year-old Audley Harrison, he says, you will see me make him miss. I'll pick my punches. I have the speed. I'm going to go forward and open him up, and I will pressure him in the later rounds. That would be a change.
Both these guys got plenty of physical ability and know-how and terrific amateur pedigree. The problem has been psychological, not bringing the talent to the surface, not being consistent, not being the boss, not the boss of their opponents, but the boss of themselves. One will have to take control of themselves tonight.
First round knockouts, Guinn with 11, Harrison with 2. You can see, though, Guinn doing most of that damage very early on in his career.
Both these guys are mirror images of themselves psychologically. They've both been tentative in their approach, unsure of themselves, and as we said, plenty of physical ability, not short in that department. But it only means something if you use it, and you use it under pressure. You can see the height advantage, the length advantage of Harrison, the southpaw, and the white. He needs to use that, but he's pouring already with the jab. But Guinn is not closing the gap. No sense in having those long arms, Joe, like Harrison has, if you're going to pour with that jab. When you pour with it, you're going to leave an opening, in this case, for a left hook or for Guinn to come in that door. You need to snap that jab, extend that jab, and set up the other punches if you're Harrison.
Halfway through the first round, and Audley Harrison did not land a punch. We told you about the criticism back in London where the sports writers were all over him after the loss to Danny Williams. One sports writer went so far as to say the Olympic champ was utterly exposed as the counterfeit so many had expected him to be.
Again, look for Guinn to have to get closer, and look for him to be allowed to if he so chooses, if he disciplines himself and motivates himself mentally to take those steps forward instead of staying outside where maybe in his false mind under pressure he thinks it's safer. Yet at the end of the night it won't be, because your opponent will get braver and you'll be behind on the scorecards. But look for Guinn to start to aim for that right hand. If that jab keeps getting poured out by Harrison.
Fought it a couple times and then fired off the straight left at the big southpaw moments ago. There's a right hand and a left hand to the body from Guinn when he did get on the inside that time.
When guys are not in control of themselves, it shows outside and inside. On the outside, it shows by not dominating with the jab, not throwing a stiff, a snappy jab. And neither one of them uses the jab. And it shows on the inside, Joe, when fighters are not sure of themselves. They tie up. They accept clinches. They look for clinches instead of fighting.
Cautious first round between Guinn and Harrison. Joe and Teddy with you. A must-win heavyweight fight between Dominick Guinn and Audley Harrison, round number 2. Many expected there would be moments of lackluster action. Boy, that first round was 3 minutes of it, Teddy.
You know, if you're a fighter, to get down to the brass knuckles, to the simplistic terms and ideas of being a fighter, the one thing that you need to bring to the table, to the ring, is the ability, the discipline to throw punches.
Guinn a little more willing in that first round, and as we've seen here in the opening moments of this second round, he's trying to come out of the malaise of his career. 2003, he was so hot. He defeated Michael Grant, Duncan Dokawari. Then he faltered in 2004. He was primed to be something big, running off all those wins, and then lost the split decision to Monty Barrett. And since then, trying to get back on track.
Again, not enough punching. If these fighters were vampires, you'd never have to worry about getting bit.
And I think we'd be having this fight at a garlic farm. Punch track numbers, there you see the minimal output. Harrison only landing 4 punches so far, according to Punch Track, 4.5 minutes into this fight.
Again, if you're a back of Harrison, the southpaw, and the white, you don't want that to happen. You want to use your jab to keep the shorter Guinn outside, work off that, and keep distance, taking steps back and creating gaps. Difficulty for Guinn to get inside. Maybe spots where Guinn will leave himself open and you can counter. But it starts with the jab, Joe. Not a pouring, pushing jab as Harrison has been using.
Lennox Lewis went and visited Audley Harrison in Miami. 2 big Brits together in South Florida, and gave him that advice. He said, stick with the jab, be committed to it. He needs that Lennox-like jab here.
Now, if you're Guinn, even though you have a southpaw, it's a little uncomfortable. You want to use that jab. You don't want to just throw it out the window. You want to give the southpaw something to worry about. Even if the jab's not landing as comfortably as it would on an orthodox fighter, you still want to use it so you don't make it easy for Harrison to be able to set you up and see things so clearly and think so clearly. And there's no better way to take a taller man's jab away than to use your own jab.
Harrison doubled it up that time, fired off a straight left.
Again, very little work on the outside, and that's what you get when you see fighters that are unsure of themselves. Tentativeness on the outside.
Somebody needs to break out of that mold. We come to the end of round number 2. Who will it be? Friday Night Fights, presented by Just for Men Hair Color, coming to you from Rancho Mirage, California. Round number 3 between Dominick Guinn in the black and red trim and the former Olympic gold medalist Audley Harrison, the 6'6" big Brit in the white trunks. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas with you. Now joined by our special studio guest analyst tonight, Smokin' Joe Frazier, the former heavyweight champ, who is watching two well-hyped heavyweights here. Joe, you had such destructive power punching. You were such an offensive-minded guy. Does it disgust you at times when you watch this generation of heavyweights who tend to be so hesitant?
I don't know what to tell you. You know what I mean? I think the guys today who really could be champion, they're so busy trying to get their hair placked and wear rings in their ear and their nose, they don't have time to get to the gym and get the job done right. And what I'm looking here, the balance is off. They're reaching out the fight. It's to the point that where nobody has no technique of the fight. Just standing straight up like two zombies, doing nothing. Nobody gets a bruise, nobody get a bumps, and the fight's over. I don't know what to say.
Joe Harrison in the white trunks is a southpaw. Have you fought southpaws before? And what would you be doing if you were in there with a southpaw? What would you be doing differently?
I was in the straight right hand. He walks in the straight right hand all night long because he's open for a straight right hand. And then
that's what everybody says, Joe, the straight right hand, the southpaw killer. Joe Frazier, great job in studio tonight with Brian Kenny. Smokin' Joe in studio, one of the best of the golden era of heavyweights. And at the end of this round, maybe the best boxer among the heavyweights of the past 10 years, James Lights Out Tony, will be with us ringside. He just fought Dominck Guinn, and we'll get James's thoughts on this fight, as well as his recent outing against Rahman and the future of his career.
You know, I think Guinn is moving the wrong way. He's not paying a price for it, but he's moving the wrong way. He's moving into the power of the southpaw. You want to move, if you're an orthodox fighter, to your left, away from that power. He's been moving to his right, but he's paying no price for it because there's nothing coming consistently from the bigger, longer Harrison. Especially what's missing is that jab, that southpaw jab, Joe. It's pouring from Harrison in the white. It's not snapping, and it's allowing that. It's allowing the shorter Guinn to do two things: to move the wrong direction, not pay a price, and to walk in anytime he wants to close the distance. If this keeps up, look for Guinn to start chucking more right hands and start gaining a little confidence. There's nothing on the outside, except right now Harrison moving the hands a little bit.
Yeah, finally throwing off those straight left hands. Joe and Teddy joined by one of our consistently favorite guys to visit with ringside, James Toney. JT, good to have you with us, coming off the fight against Rahman. I know you were in against Guinn, and you see him here in Southern California at times. What do you make of it so far?
I think it's a pretty good fight. You know, they both have installed the will of each other yet. They're both still looking for the opening shots. Like Teddy said earlier, Dominick, he's fighting softball. He should be shooting right hands, left hooks. Yeah, open him up because he's wide open for it.
Which way would you be moving, James? You were in there with the
opposite of softball. Right now, what Dominick doing right now, he's moving into the power range of Audley Harrison. Luckily, Audley's not experienced enough to know that. He's not throwing it, or he's scared. Either or.
James, you've had time probably now to reflect on what happened in March against the Sim Rahman. We know about the conditioning issues. When you look back at it now, what do you think of it?
Like I said, with no conditioning issue, I fought.
You shouldn't have been 237 though.
Listen,
you should not have been that heavy.
Listen, I was 230.
I waited you as a fighter. You've been a terrific champion. You've been a terrific champion.
I'm a great fighter regardless.
And the sport's been good to you.
Yes, sir.
In all honesty, don't you think you owe it to your fans to come in a later weight? I have to ask you that.
Well,
that's
Teddy,
the truth.
won't you let me explain, man? It's like the HBO commentators. I'm gonna smash my skin. You know, look, I came to the fight. I was in great shape. I caught the flu the last week of the fight. I was chilling myself about putting the fluids back in me so I can rehydrate.
You got to put fluids in you, not food.
No,
when you're sick.
Y'all always think it's food. Then you go act like you never HBO commentators. Y'all don't know me. I train harder than anybody in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I've been a supporter of yours. I've been a supporter of you through your career. But if you're heavy, you're heavy.
Teddy, if you support me, you understand. It doesn't matter if I'm heavy or light. I still get the job done. Hassan Rahman did not beat me that night.
Are you going to get your weight down? Because you're a better fighter at a lighter weight.
I will get my weight down for a rematch, I promise.
All right. Speaking of which, James, tell us what's going on. What's happening in your career?
Well, like I said, if Hassan Rahman was a true champion like he said he was, he wanted to do the rematch right away, immediately. But no, he chose to fight Audley Harrison. So no, right now, I'm not going to sit back and wait for him.
Round number 4 here. Dominck Guinn, Audley Harrison, Joe Teddy, and James Lights Out Tony ringside. Of course, Joe Frazier is our studio guest tonight. You played Joe Frazier in the movie Ali. I know that was a thrill for you.
It was a great job playing that man, Joe Frazier, great fighter. One of my idols.
What would you be doing on the inside here? Because you don't see a lot of action on the inside, and there's opportunities there.
So what I'm trying to do right now, they just do like Audley Harrison. They don't do the right hand to the body like that, and bring it to the middle. Left uppercut, right uppercut, right to the body.
James, obviously both these guys know how to fight, and they have ability. They're big, full-fledged, athletic heavyweights. They have good amateur background.
Right.
What's missing? Is it the mental part?
I think what was missing the desire. Desire to go out and try to kill somebody.
Which you never lack, James.
No, not at all. You gotta go out and try to start hurting somebody. These guys are trying to land punches and get out of there without getting hit.
Body shots, and Guinn's done a much better job going to the body. You see, that's for the total fight. Harrison hasn't landed one. Guinn's done a better job here in this 4th round. James, it's always a pleasure to be with you ringside. I always love the frank discussions that you and Teddy have. You're so honest and open.
I love Teddy. Teddy tells the truth. I tell the truth. And we love each other.
Come back anytime, my man. James Lights Out Tony.
I'll get you back, I promise, baby.
All right. All right.
There's a combination from Audley, glancing uppercut. We talked about the body work from Dominck Guinn. Much better outing here in this 4th round. There's that uppercut again from Harrison. Teddy, you talked about the use of the left uppercut from Harrison as Guinn puts up the defensive front. We'll get into that more when we come back for round number 5. Guinn and Harrison on Friday Night Fight.
The end of the last round, you know, we've been talking about Guinn moving the wrong way, Joe, to the right, where he would move into the power hand, the back left hand of Harrison. He almost paid a price for that movement right there.
Got to get away from that big left hand of Audley Harrison. Round number 5. They picked up the pace in that 4th round on Teddy Atlas's scorecard. As we take a look, Guinn in control. 4 rounds to zip. He had a 29-10 connect advantage in the 4th round. See, you bring Joe Frazier and James Toney into the mix, and the guys get inspired a little bit here. Round number 5, scheduled for 10. Let's look at the punches landed by round. You can see the output in that 4th round as Guinn charges forward again here. 29 punches in that 4th round.
Well, so far, Guinn has been doing a better job at what he needs to do than Harrison has been doing at what he needs to do. The bigger, taller southpaw needs to do more on the outside, especially with the jab.
There's that right hand to the body.
Guinn needs to get close, and he's been able to get close, and he's been a little more active than Harrison. If you're Harrison, it starts with the jab, or at least it should, with controlling range, setting up things on the front end off that jab, creating offense, Joe, and then stepping back and creating holes where you get your opponent to jump in. Now, Guinn jumped in, but Harrison did not take advantage, did not move his hands.
No, straight right hand and then shot off the uppercut, and Harrison didn't return anything at all.
And I'm still going to say it. Harrison, a big man, former Olympic gold medalist in the 2000 games representing his country of England. Guinn is still moving the wrong direction, into the power, into the teeth of Harrison, moving to his right.
He's doing it right now. So circling the wrong way, but when he just goes forward, he's been a little more effective here in this 5th round. Now back out in range. You see the warning from Kais Jr. after that right hand from Harrison. Again, and he lets him walk right in.
When guys have psychological deficiencies, which these fighters have, James talked about lack of desire, lack of fire. I think sometimes it's lack of confidence that goes with that desire, that allows you to show yourself, allows you to perform, allows you to take chances. And when you see that, the symptoms are usually this: nobody using a dominant jab, and when they get inside, nobody really taking control and making the most of it. Guinn doing a little more.
When it's right there for the taking. Guinn has indeed done a little more. The 30-year-old who trains and lives out of Houston now. Can he get back to his form of 3 years ago? Little by little gaining confidence here at the halfway mark against Harrison. 6'6" Olympic gold medalist Audley Harrison, now 19-1, coming off of a much criticized first loss in his career. Looking for a much needed win here against Dominck Guinn in that 5th round. It was the first round in which he had a connect advantage against Dominick Guinn, but yet Dominck Guinn seemed to be the guy that was landing the more effective punches and maybe a little bit of momentum in the corner of Guinn.
And you can have some even rounds. If there was ever a fight where you can look to put down even rounds. Again, Guinn not being kept outside. We talked about on the fighter's tips, Joe, that both guys would be allowed to get inside because neither one would do much on the outside, especially Harrison not using that southpaw jab, as you see, covering up,
Don't push him, Audley. Don't push him.
going into that peekaboo and allowing Guinn to walk right in.
Comes in with a right hand that time. Where is the jab from a 6'6" guy in Audley Harrison? It's non-existent for long stretches.
And when it does come into point jab, it's a 3/4 half jab, which actually serves Guinn to close the gap and walk right in that front door. Now, when Guinn gets inside, which is pretty easy when there's no long jab coming at him, it's not a matter of what he can do when he gets inside. It's not. It's a matter of what he wants to do when he gets inside. The opportunities are there for him. Like right now, it's up to Guinn if he wants to punch right now, and he decides to wait, and both fighters decide to wait to get separated by the ref. Again, the opportunities are there, and also the symptoms are there. When fighters are not sure of themselves, inside they will not work. They will sometimes make compacts, deals. If you don't work, I will work.
There's an uppercut from Harrison
that we talked about, the power punch, the back punch we talked about on the tips, and we said it would be there. It would be a matter of moving your hands and desiring to throw the punch.
Best punch of the fight landed, and it comes with a left uppercut from Audley Harrison here in this 6th round.
Well, it's going to be there all night because Guinn will not move his head much. He will come in, he will cover up, get into that peekaboo, and allow you to split the guard if you so choose with that uppercut. And we said it on the tips. That is a good punch for Harrison to use, like right now on the inside.
Well, it may be there all night, but he has to have the desire and the quick trigger to throw it, which hasn't been there all night, except for that one fleeting moment here in round number 6.
There's a lot of things there for these fighters. It's always about the choices.
4 rounds to go in this heavyweight battle.
As we talked about, the opportunity for the left uppercut, the power punch, the power hand for Harrison would be in there when Guinn covers up. It was there that round.
Round 7 scheduled for 10. Joe Tessitore, Teddy Atlas with you. Smoking Joe Frazier in studio with Brian Kenny tonight. Dominick Guinn, he was the red-hot heavyweight back in 2003. He fought James Toney in his efforts to come back this fall, had injured ribs, was outclassed now after going 1-3-1 in his last 5 fights. A must-win here against Audley Harrison, who's in the same exact position. We told you about the changes that Dominick Guinn made in his life in the course of the past year, promotional, managerial, and specifically affecting him in the ring. Joe Guinn, the new trainer, he now joins us. Joe, what do you want to see out of Guinn in the stretch run of this fight? Joe, are you there? Can you hear us, Joe? We'll try to get back to Joe Guinn in moments. Here's that light-hearted jab from Audley Harrison.
Having audio problems.
No, I'm here, guys.
Now we have Joe Guinn back.
Joe, what do you want to see out of Dominick here?
A little bit more pressure. I think he should be a little bit busier. We worked on really sitting down, working combinations on the inside. He's starting to throw a few more, but he's been really, he's been doing real well like that. But he could keep following up. The guy's not giving him much resistance when he's punching on the inside.
You know, Joe, I was saying, your guy Guinn, he's been allowed to walk in with Harrison, who's not using the jab. But it's not a matter of what he can do when he gets in. It's a matter of what he wants to do. He can throw as many punches as he likes when he gets inside.
Exactly, Teddy. You know, sometimes it's frustrating for trainers to sit there and watch your guys not perform up to what you expect them to. But he's coming on a little bit more. I think he's getting into it and performing more like I want to see him do.
Are you concerned about him moving the wrong direction? He's been moving to his right into the power hand of Harrison. Now, Harrison hasn't used it, but he's still there.
No, he's using it, Teddy. But you know as well as I know, every southpaw expects the guy to go to his right hand. We're going to his left hand here, and he hasn't been able to hit him clean yet.
Do you think that you're rolling the dice a little bit? You're playing a little bit with fire?
Well, I don't know. Not yet. I think we're in control of the fight right now.
Well, if he lands on the left hand, then I'll tell you that you were playing with fire.
Yeah, like my dad said, if gorillas had feathers, they'd be chickens. So right now, you know, he hasn't done it. And even if he does, I think Dominick will be able to take it. He's in great shape right now. And he's getting the best of Harrison right now. I don't even think there's a question.
Well, Harrison has been doing nothing on the outside, and his thing is he needs to use that jab. Your guy has been allowed to walk in that front door.
Well, we're not going the way he likes the jab, you know.
Thanks, Joe.
Thank you, guys.
Good insight, Joe. End of round number 7.
5 seconds. Here we go.
Done. Dominick Guinn and Audley Harrison. Loads of criticism has been placed on these heavyweights in the course of the past 2 years. Harrison has not lived up to the expectations of a gold medalist. Guinn was thought to be a true title contender. Now they have 3 rounds to define each other.
Let's do punching, no punching.
Guinn doing a little bit more and allowed, as we said from the top, to walk right into that kitchen of Harrison. I still think Guinn is moving the wrong direction, moving to his right into the power of Harrison's left hand. Yeah, he's gotten away with it, but he's still playing with fire. We'll see whether or not he's burnt.
Joe Goossen talked about that strategy, and he said we're doing the opposite, and Audley's not doing anything with it. We'll see if they get burnt with it here in these final 3 rounds. Guinn a little more active on the inside now. Not big punches, but scoring. Surely winning over the judges. Both fighters, really, you talk about the mental game so much, Teddy. I mean, this is the summation of it, the mindset. What are they willing to do? The lack of confidence between the 2 guys. The body shots, I mean, Harrison just does not go downstairs. Guinn has been effective on the inside to the body, landing 78 of 107. It was that pawing jab of Harrison. We saw the one significant left uppercut, but not much else from Audley.
Well, both men do very little moving of their heads. They depend on blocking for defense. That means they both give each other opportunities to get punches off and to score up the middle and to the body. It's a matter of who takes the initiative, who moves their hands. On the inside, the opportunity for Harrison, who refuses to use his height and fight tall. The opportunity is there for Harrison to use that uppercut as Guinn just covers up, as he did a couple rounds ago, to split the guard with that backhand.
3-punch combination finishes with an uppercut from Dominick Guinn.
And on the inside, opportunities there for Guinn, as Harrison also just covers up and goes defensive and allows the hands of Guinn to move.
2 body punches from Guinn. Harrison threw back 1 punch.
So far, the opportunities offensively for Harrison, who refuses to snap that jab and only pause with it, are on the inside when Guinn covers up. The opportunities for Guinn are twofold. One is to walk in with right hands with the southpaw, and the other is to work when he gets inside as Harrison goes defensive.
10 seconds, 10 seconds.
Coming to the end of this 8th round, there's that left uppercut from Audley. Audley Harrison said he is stronger, he is faster, he is better heading into this fight against Dominick Guinn, but he still is inactive and hesitant. The 6'6" southpaw, the big Brit, coming off his first loss of his career. He was highly criticized. He may have trained better, but he's fighting in a similar fashion that brought upon all that criticism in the first place. And he's trailing on Teddy Atlas's scorecard, 79-73. And granted, many of those rounds were close. Big left uppercut in the 6th round for Harrison. But for the most part, Guinn has gained a little bit of confidence and has done more work on the inside, just letting the hands go, as we saw there moments ago. Let's bring in the trainer for Audley Harrison, Kenny Crooms. Kenny, are you getting across to your guy a sense of urgency, telling him that he's got to let the hands go, that a decision may not be there for him?
I'm exactly telling him that he's not doing enough work. We're not going to win a decision. I don't know if we won a round, to me personally now, but he won't let his hands go right now. You know what I'm saying?
That's very honest of you, Kenny. Why does a 6'5" fighter, a southpaw, not use that long southpaw jab when he has it?
Teddy, I begged him all night, just use your jab and your distance, Audley. And we don't have a problem in this fight. But to get him to do it is another thing. Walking to the guy, letting the guy throw punches at his body. You know, he know how to fight. I don't know what the problem is. I really don't know. I don't know what to say.
Thanks, Kenny, for that very honest assessment. You heard Kenny Crooms say that he doesn't know if they have won a single round. It is Audley's first fight with Kenny Crooms as the lead trainer. Thel Torrance, who usually works with him, was busy working with Asim Rahman to get him set for our guest a few rounds ago, James Toney. So Kenny Crooms, as frustrated as others have been with Audley Harrison, you're going to think he's got to light a fire underneath him after this 9th round. Of course, Harrison, a big guy, 14 knockouts. He's capable. He's got that straight left weaponry. Needs to fire it off.
Still has the opportunity, has the size, has the ability. The man in the white trunks, Harrison, and getting a little cooperation, at least in my opinion, of Guinn still moving the wrong way into that power punch, but it will not serve him. It will not serve Harrison if he does not launch it. Harrison has the advantage on the outside, but does not use that. Does not let his hands go at the right time or at the right distance. And Guinn, simple formula, doing a little bit more inside. Both fighters allowing each other to get inside. Guinn doing a little bit more. And the opportunity, really mirror opportunities, Joe, for both guys on the inside. Both cover up, don't work much, put their gloves up, and allow opportunities for each other to move their hands.
1 round to go in this heavyweight fight. The 10th and final round. A fork in the road of the careers of Audley Harrison and Dominick Guinn. Harrison, in the eyes of most ringside, has not done enough. Guinn has done a little more, specifically on the inside and going to the body, as he did again right there with the left hand. Kenny Crooms, the trainer for Audley Harrison, said, I have to have you throw everything in this round. You got to get him out of there. We cannot win a decision. That is how Teddy Atlas's scorecard reads, 88-83 for the 30-year-old Dominick Guinn. Walks right in again.
The difference so far tonight has not been ability. It's been who's used their ability a little bit more, and that's been on our scorecards, Guinn. And I think the difference has been his experience, good and bad. He's fought better fighters, he's lost more often, and he's got maybe a little bit of a longer, deeper memory of those losses and what it means to be in that position versus being on top of the world.
That's a slip right there as the leg gave out of the big Brit, Audley Harrison. A lot of sweat coming off of Harrison.
Guinn has had more time through his career to understand the difference from being a prospect and a guy who people cough at, maybe even demean. He understands how that can hurt, and he's had time to digest that. And that has served him a little bit better tonight in his performance than it has served Harrison, who only lost in his last fight. Maybe hasn't had enough time to understand what that really means.
Breaks away with the left uppercut there. Guinn not affected. Harrison really needs it, Teddy.
Well, the opportunity now on the inside for Harrison is that left uppercut, as we talked about. Guinn covers up. The hook punch won't get through, the gloves off. He's too close to throw a straight punch. He needs to throw that uppercut and split the guard of Guinn.
Here comes Harrison.
And you can see Harrison looking for that uppercut and looking to put punches together now.
Where has this been for the last 9 rounds? And the flurries underneath, little shoe shining from Guinn. Now they decide to crank it up in the final minute here. And a short left hook and a good right hand from Dominick Guinn. Oh boy, is the big Brit hurt. He's trying. Here he comes. Last 20 seconds. Could be the last 20 seconds of a meaningful career on the line.
That opportunity is there for the uppercut for both men. Now with the taller Harrison leaning forward and covering up, that opportunity for the uppercut is even more pronounced.
And the chant of USA, USA rises up in Rancho Mirage. Dominick Guinn appears to have done enough. A late rally from Audley Harrison met with return fire. The final moments of that 10th round. Stay with us. We'll be back with the decision. Quite frankly, with Stephen A. Smith is coming up next after we get the decision of this main event. The Punch Track Fight Recap, sponsored by Just for Men Hair Color. Look at the body numbers, 102-5 advantage for Dominick Guinn, who appeared to work just a little harder. Teddy Atlas's scorecard. Sixth round, Harrison landed the left uppercut, rallied at the end, 98-93. Let's see which way it goes with Jimmy Lennon Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 10 rounds of action, we have a unanimous decision. Here are the score totals. Judge at ringside, Lou Filippo, scores about 98-92. Judges David Mendoza and Pat Russell both score about 97-93. All three in favor of the winner, Dominick, the Southern Disaster Guinn.
He went out there and earned it, and Teddy, I think that is the end of Audley Harrison. He was all sizzle and no steak. That is a good win for Dominick Guinn. Before we take off here ringside and head back to studio, Joe Frazier has been with us.